I've had 38 Italki lessons this year so far for French and Spanish combined, and it is the first time that I've had one-on-one private online lessons to learn languages for such a long period of time. And I have to say, I have made a lot of mistakes along the way, and in this video, I am sharing with you these different mistakes that I have made, and hopefully you can learn from them and not repeat them. The first mistake that I made was not really being focused on my Italki lessons when I first started having them. So in 2020, I took 3 lessons for Spanish, but after taking those initial lessons, I thought they were fun and all, but then I never thought about using Italki again until the beginning of this year. So what I should have done was thought a lot more about the benefits of using Italki, because as you can see, I have taken a lot of Italki lessons this year so far, and they have been extremely beneficial for advancing my language skills, and they would have aligned a lot with the goals that I had back in 2020 as well if I had decided to actually start to take them a lot more. And I always recommend that you go through this self-reflection process as a language learner so you can really figure out what are the best study methods for you and what are the best study resources for you as well. Not investigating what Italki truly has to offer. For the majority of this year, I thought the Italki platform only had language learning lessons that you can take. But it turns out they actually do offer more things on their website. This mistake is all about exploration or the lack of exploration. So every time that you are using a new platform, a new application, any type of new study resource for a language that you're learning, one thing that you want to do is make sure that you know all the capabilities of it, or try to figure out if like a textbook comes with a CD or something like that, or an audio file. In the case of Italki, you can actually purchase some exams so you can test your language skills. And then they also have a community tab, and this is where professional tutors, teachers, and also students are able to post different things. For example, there are posts about tongue twisters, trending words, and daily vocabulary. And then there's also a podcast tab as well. And this part of the website really surprised me. So yeah, different professional teachers and community tutors again, who are able to post episodes of their podcasts. And then another blog post that I actually received through my email is titled Best Way to Learn Spanish. So just in case you didn't know beforehand, there is more that you can do with this Italki platform. Also, if you use my affiliate link in the description box of this video, then you will receive $10 worth of Italki credits after you purchase $20 worth, and this will go towards your Italki language learning lessons. Forcing myself to take Italki lessons every single week. Now, how can this be a mistake? Isn't it really good to be very consistent and to take lessons every single week? And yes, that is very true in my opinion. It really depends on the perspective that you have. So for me, my perspective was that if I did not take an Italki lesson every single week, that meant that I was not going to progress really fast in French, and I was not going to progress really fast in Spanish. And that is just not the case. So I don't want you to fall into this trap where you have a lot of fear that if you don't do this every single week, then you aren't going to be able to reach your goals or progress or anything like that at all. Because it is nice to take breaks if you actually do need them. And as well, let's say that you decide to take a break this week. That doesn't mean that you can't review your Italki lessons that you have had previously. So you just have to find the right balance that is going to work for your language learning study routine. Even for me, I actually took a break from taking Italki lessons last week. And this is something I actually haven't done for over a month. I've been consistently taking Italki lessons for Spanish for a month straight. So I actually did have a little bit of fear. I was like, I shouldn't do it, but at the same time, I have other things that I need to do. But I decided to take a break instead and, not let that fear take over me. So that is just something that you should be aware of. Not taking enough notes during my Italki lessons. This was a big mistake that I made at the beginning of this year. And if I don't take a lot of notes, then I forget a lot of different things. And that is just not for a beginner, but it's also for an advanced language learner. So with my French Italki lessons, I can still forget a lot because everything is new, right? There's a lot of new sentence structure, there's a lot of different grammar rules, and a whole bunch of new words and pronunciation rules that I don't know yet. So that's why I need to be taking a lot of notes for that specific style of lesson that is more instructional. And the same thing with my Spanish Italki lessons, because these are conversational lessons. So we basically talk for 30 minutes up to an hour about a whole bunch of different topics. So if I don't take notes during these conversations, then more than likely I'm going to forget a lot of the details. So I really want you to see the importance of taking notes, because notes aren't just good for remembering what you talked about or what you learned during your Italki lessons, but they are perfect for a reviewing session, and especially for those weeks when you decide to take a break from your Italki lessons. And I used to feel very uncomfortable about taking notes during my Italki lessons because I felt like I was interrupting my teachers. But with this, all you have to do is either record yourself doing the Italki lessons, or what you can do is ask your Italki teacher or your Italki community tutor to take notes for you. So sometimes what my Spanish Italki tutor does is write down a lot of the words and sentences that she says that I can't comprehend in the chat. So that's something that you can do as well, or just ask your teacher or your community tutor during the lesson, hey, can we stop for a second and then I can take down some notes before we continue on. Now I record a ton of my Spanish Italki lessons, and then I write down as many words and phrases that I hear that are new to me. And this has helped me not only with reviewing what I just learned in that lesson, but also to think about what are some other topics that me and my tutor can discuss in the next lesson. Not having enough rest before my lessons. This is a very bad habit, and it does not help with your language learning progress at all. You want to make sure that you are fully rested before you are having these Italki lessons, so you can be the most productive possible, you can be focused, and you can have a really good conversation with your tutor or with your professional teacher. I had a few lessons where I could feel my eyelids getting so heavy and my eyes start to close, and it was very embarrassing because I couldn't even pay attention for 30 minutes. It's just not a fun experience when you are just so exhausted like that and you are trying to learn a language. And then if you repeatedly keep pushing yourself through exhaustion like that, then that can make you even more stressed out, and they can also demotivate you a lot from your language studies. Another mistake that I made was not knowing how to balance two different languages. This is the first year that I've ever attempted to learn two languages at one time. So I'm learning French and I'm learning Spanish. So I decided to take some French Italki lessons alongside my Spanish Italki lesson. At first, it was quite manageable, but then after 9 French Italki lessons, I decided that I was not going to continue anymore because it was just too hard and I was very exhausted and I really had no idea how to balance the two. So instead of just quitting like that, what I wish I did was actually do some self-reflection and figure out, how can I have enough energy to dedicate to my Spanish Italki lessons and to my French Italki lessons without getting burnt out, and I'm still able to learn a lot from both of these, because as language learners, we need to be having these types of conversations with ourselves so we can progress, be more productive, and be the best language learner that we possibly can. Anytime that you are struggling with some type of problem during your language learning journey, like I just had with trying to juggle 2 languages at one time with this italki platform, always try to find a solution or multiple solutions to your problem. Not controlling my emotions. During a few of my lessons, it was sometimes very difficult to control my emotions because I felt very insecure about the way that I was speaking in Spanish, speaking in French, but then also all the mistakes that I was making. Sometimes that made me feel that I was not being a good language learner. Now, the issue with that is during my lesson, the only thing that I'm thinking about is my insecurities. I'm thinking about all these mistakes, but I'm not actually focused on what my tutor is saying. So I'm actually not learning a lot just because I'm letting all my insecurities and these negative emotions affect me so much. Another mistake that I made was being a know-it-all. I think the best way to approach taking italki lessons is to be very open-minded and ready to learn something new. Because if you had that whole know-it-all attitude like I had in a few of my lessons, then there's really no point of you taking these italki lessons, right? Because you take these so you can learn more, so you can get corrected and things like that. But if you're going through your lesson and the only thing that's going through your mind is, oh, I already know this already, we've already had this conversation before, then you're not going to be in the best position, you're not going to have the best mindset to learn something new, because you can always learn something new even if you're talking about the same topic for, let's say, 10 or even 15 lessons. You can learn more vocabulary on a specific topic, but then you can also increase your pronunciation skills and your listening comprehension skills. So you can always increase some form of language skill in a lesson. Strive to be a lifelong learner. If you want to know what teachers and tutors that I've been using with Italki, then go to the description box of this video and I have the link of their Italki pages there. And if you're interested in knowing what the actual experience is like during these Italki lessons, then you can tap or click on the screen to watch a few of my own personal Italki lessons. Thank you very much for watching. Mi nombre es Josué. Esto es Spanish Blueprints y nos vemos en el próximo video.